I've recently read a book entitled Crucial Conversations. And in it, it's a book about how to have a genuine conversation with people we care about when there are serious matters, when things are at stake. How to do that at a place from the heart, listening with our heart and asking, what do we really want out of this conversation, rather than coming at the conversation from emotions or a head trip, a total head trip, but right from the heart to say, what is it I really want in this relationship? I thought of that book as I read today's gospel, where Jesus is speaking to the disciples about relationship in community. He says, if your brother or your sister sins against you, go and have this conversation and tell them their faults in a way that they can listen and hear. That is a crucial conversation. In the gospel, the word sin means, I believe the Hebrew word is hamar, which means to miss the mark. And all of us kind of fit into that category. How often have we missed the mark in our relationships or in community where we have failed? And what's important is that we speak to one another in a place of love, of what we really want to heal and mend that relationship. And Jesus goes on to say to do that in community. If you need help, bring in witnesses to help you. It's like expanding that inner circle of community in your relationships a little bit wider. And if that doesn't help you, expand it even wider in the language calls the church, again, the symbol of community. And finally, when everything fails, the person is sent as an outcast and excommunicated. And at the time of Jesus, community meant life. And to be an outcast really meant it was a death sentence. You could not literally survive if you were not part of the community. That movement, that call to speak to one another in love, it also resonates in the second reading today from Romans chapter 13. Paul says to the Romans, owe nothing to anyone except to love one another. That is all we owe one another, is to love one another. That call, and when those times when we miss that mark, is to come together and speak to one another in love of how we can mend that. Because love is the fulfillment of the law of Jesus that says the greatest commandment is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So this week, let us focus on our relationships within our community, our inner circle, all the way out to our wider circle of community. And think about, have there been places where maybe we have missed the mark or somebody has missed the mark with us? And can we have that crucial conversation with them to say, in love, what is it we really want? Can we also pray that into being and live that into being? Because we owe nothing to anyone except to love one another. Let us have the courage to love within all of our circles of community this week. One conversation, one step at a time, one relationship at a time with one another in love. Amen.